Hey, what's up? So here we are exposing yet another racist. And this time we're exposing some hick named Travis, is what he calls himself, and he has a blue check. I don't know if this guy is actually running for Congress, like his handle implies. So his Twitter account name is TWines4congress. So he's trying to say that he's running for Congress. I have no idea if this loser, this basement dwelling hick, is actually running for Congress or not. However, he is a butthurt racist who just blocked me and actually spouted a very childish insult. I always wear these blocks as a badge of honor because it lets me know that these idiots are so stupid that they can't formulate cogent arguments. That's why they run away and they block people because they can't debate. Their position is incredibly weak. Um, so how did this all begin? Well, let's just jump right into it. So this racist was responding to a tweet by Cori Bush, who correctly pointed out that Independence Day is about white people. So she said, when they say that the 4th of July is about American freedom, let me just make this a little bit bigger here. There we go. When they say that the 4th of July is about American freedom, remember this: the freedom they're referring to is for white people. This land is stolen land, and black people still aren't free. So she's correct. Um, American holidays have routinely been about celebrating things for white people and denying basic rights and privileges to non-whites and especially to black people. So, of course, this triggered all of the racist hicks, and this one hick named Travis T. Wines, whatever the fuck his name is. And of course, he posts incredibly racist garbage and basically coded language, canned lines stolen from other races. But we'll get into that in a second. So, what kind of stupid shit does this racist say? He says black people aren't free. Your district hasn't had a white representative in over 50 years. You, a black woman, went from being a nurse to being elected to one of the highest offices in the country. How much more freedom are you looking for? So now this other person named Arya Snark responds and says, I know it's probably difficult for you to imagine, but she is not only speaking or thinking of herself. One person being in hard-earned position of authority does not equal freedom for those who are not. So this is actually a pretty benign, reasonable response. Um, being very patient with an obvious racist. I did respond to this racist, and I will show you some of the tweets I made to this racist in a second. But let's continue on here. Um, so of course, the racist hick does not address the point, or does not address anything that this person has said. They're what they always do is they go to like a canned response, a very predictable canned response that they steal from other races. So they all have like they go to like these racist websites and groups online, so they have tactics on how to respond to these kinds of remarks. Because you have one person who's arguing in good faith, Arya Snark, and then you have another person who is arguing in bad faith, this racist named Travis. Then the racist says, so we should have every person, every black person in America. Hold on one second. Okay. So we should have every black person in America elected to Congress or else it's oppression. So, of course, this did not address the point at hand at all. Okay. This was not addressing the point at hand at all. Um, Arya was not saying that. So this is called a straw man fallacy. Okay. But Arya like kind of is arguing too much in good faith. Instead of calling out the fallacy, she like addresses what he's saying. But like that's not what this racist did. This racist did not address the point that was raised. This racist jumped to a separate fallacy, attacking a straw man fallacy. Then Arya says that would be equity. Everyone gets what they need to reach the same outcome, not equality. Everyone gets the same resources and opportunities. If you think that these things are the same or that we have achieved equality, you are missing the point entirely. I don't even think you need to if. This racist straw manned Arya. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit here. What resources and opportunities did I have that a black person doesn't? My mother was a single waitress on government assistance, blah, 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 blah. I don't even need to read that garbage. So these are lies. What this racist is saying, like, this is what all racists do. They basically try to say, oh no, black people are not oppressed, white people are oppressed. They always switch it. They always deflect and then talk about how white people are oppressed or how they're white and they had a horrible time in life. This racist did not have a horrible time in life. This racist did not have to work hard a day in its life. It is lying. It is lying. That's what racists do. They lie. So unfortunately, Arya once again is arguing in good faith with a bad faith actor, saying it's not about you or anyone specifically. Having white privilege doesn't mean that you haven't had challenges. This racist has never had challenges, or that you haven't worked or for or earned what you have. This racist has never worked or earned what it has. It was given everything to it on a silver platter. It means that the color of your skin hasn't contributed to those challenges. It also means that white people get unfair privileges that they didn't earn nor do they deserve over anyone else. So Arya correctly points out it's a systemic issue. So Travis never, the racist in question, never addresses the point. They always jump to something else because they are bad faith actors. Then the racist says, you should understand that everywhere in America isn't predominantly white. In Flint, I've been denied jobs, blah, blah, blah. Again, once again, the racist tries to claim victimization. That is the telltale sign of a racist. They always try to talk about how they have been oppressed for being white. That is unbelievably offensive. Anytime a white person talks about how white people are oppressed or how there's racism against white people, I get offended by that because that takes away from the real racism that affects non white people and especially black people. To have a false equivalency, to uh, equate racism against white people with racism against black people is a false equivalency. One is demonstrably worse than the other. Yes, racism against black people is demonstrably worse than racism against white people. Now, I know some dumb hick, some racist hick is going to say, oh, are you saying that racism against whites doesn't exist? You're a racist. That's what they always do. No, I never said that. I never said racism against whites doesn't exist. I'm saying that one is worse than the other. And if you don't accept that racism against black people in America is worse than racism against white people, then you're a racist yourself. Then Arya, is like saying, I understand your point. And I say, please do not understand his point. He is spouting lies. In response to your points about systemic oppression, racists will respond to facts about black oppression with lies about them or white people being oppressed to minimize, deflect, or invalidate systemic racism. Then they got someone else who I don't know who the fuck this is. This might actually be this Travis guy using a fake account. That seems to be really likely because when you look at this thing, it has only 2 followers. That is likely to be this Travis guy. And I also have some more proof of that later. Um, then I say, how can it be systemic if there's then this racist says, how can it be systemic if there's successful Black Americans? And it's literally just uh, repeated the same fallacy that that this racist made in the first place. And I just quoted the first thing I said. So this is the first thing I said in response. I said, this is a fallacy. Whether or not her district has a white representatives has no bearing on whether black people are systemically oppressed or systematically oppressed. The same is true for your latter argument. While some upward mobility is possible, that doesn't mean racism and oppression doesn't exist. Then the sock puppet account tries to do some false consciousness. Doesn't work with me. Trying to say, I'm trying to understand if you're going to start slinging ugly accusations, how can you come have a conversation? I don't have conversations with racists. I expose racists, and that's why I'm exposing you. Yes, I read your response that you reposted. Trying to be specific about what I don't understand. If you don't understand racism, you need to go and do research about it. Okay? Do not do this sea lining crap. I understand that there are racist individuals, but if there were a system in place that oppressed black people, see, this is another fallacy. It's not like there is a system, the system of racism against black people institution. No, that's not what systemic racism means, you fucking idiot. It means that racism persists in systems already in place, like, for example, the police force. Like, for example, in members in Congress who pass racist laws, like what they did in Ferguson, where they were a whole bunch of basically lifestyle laws where the police had the pretext to harass, detain, and arrest black people for violating these nonsense laws, like, for example, having beer too close to a barbecue. Um, these laws were specifically designed to give police the legal pretext to harass black people, and it's the same thing with drugs like cannabis. Even though because there was a government official, I forgot who it was, who admitted on the record that um, the laws against cannabis were done because they couldn't pass laws to make it illegal to be black or be illegal to be sympathetic to black civil rights. You know, so they had to pass laws against cannabis so they could disrupt the communities that used cannabis, like, for example, Hispanic people, black people. And this is evidenced by the fact that police disproportionately target black people and other non-whites for possession of cannabis, cannabis use, etc., than white people do. These laws were specifically designed to target minority groups. Then that system of government would not. Okay, so he's saying if there were a system in place that oppressed black people, then that system or government, the government or corporate structure would not allow any success. No, that's a fallacy. And I actually addressed that specifically right here. Incorrect. You're making an assumption that isn't true. Systemic racism does not mean there isn't any upward mobility. You do not understand the issues you're trying to talk about because you're a racist yourself. So this racist makes an assumption that systemic racism means that black people are basically slaves and are in chains, and then since they're not in chains, then that means systemic racism doesn't exist. That is a false assumption. That is not what the systemic racism looks like. That is one extreme form of systemic racism, but you can have a range of systemic racism that can run the gamut from where black people are kept in chains to where they are oppressed in our society and police disproportionately target them for drug offenses and similar things. So, of course, this racist then jumps right back and responds to himself because this is his sock puppet account and he has other ones too. Spouting a whole bunch of ad hominem fallacies because he's too stupid to think of cogent arguments. So it says, don't waste your time arguing with this dumbass. That's a pot calling kettle black. He's not looking for a logical debate. He's just looking to call people names behind a keyboard from his mom's basement. So hiding up behind a keyboard from your mom's basement, this is a very old canned line that you always use. Actually, like kids use this a lot. I like to make fun of people, especially racist, because they often do live in their parents' basement. And in fact, many of the Trump supporters that were at the Capitol riot in January 6th actually did live in their parents' basement and eat organic food. So they are quite literally basement dwelling soy boys. So this racist TWines4congress, T-Wines, I wouldn't be surprised if it really wasn't running for Congress at all and was actually just a soy boy living in its parents' basement. Um, so let me jump over here real quick. Uh, so yeah, I'm really skeptical of this guy, of this sack of garbage, because if you look at the following and the followers joined November 2016, 2017. This person's following a lot of people. Like, I have a feeling that a lot of these are fake accounts that are following him because, like, he's following a lot of people. Like, I think he's just, like, following a lot of people that will follow back. So this person I really don't think is actually running for Congress or anything. But here's the funny thing. He attacks anyone uh, who uh, who just criticizes anything he says. So if we rewind back a little bit, you have a racist here by the name Visitor 2970, and again, it's a very suspicious account. 0 followers. It's totally empty. Made specifically for responding to this comment. So it says, I know it's probably difficult for you to imagine, but she is not the only black person to thrive in this country, blah, blah, blah. Basically repeating the same exact argument that Travis made, and then instantly refuted by someone who's actually smart. You've never read a history textbook, have you? To say that black people and white people have the same freedom is beyond absurd. That's correct. White people have white privilege. I literally encountered a racist who admitted that he never had to deal with racism. Gee, I wonder why. It's because he's white and enjoys white privilege. That's just one manifestation of it. Then the racist says, name one thing a white American can do that a black American cannot. It's not about whether or not whites can do things that blacks can't. Obviously, blacks can do anything a white person can't. The point is that they are at a disadvantage and they are targeted by the police disproportionately. And they are murdered by the police or brutalized by the police disproportionately, or the police are more likely to escalate to violence with black people, etc., etc. These are just examples of the manifestations in which racism can occur and how white people are privileged. And that's only scratching the surface. We could go into things like redlining. That's an entire topic that you could discuss for an hour. But of course, this racist, who's really Travis using a fake account, uh, behaves disingenuously. Um, but this guy, Milkshake Milton, responds quite simply saying, it's easier for you, a white American, to vote. It's easier for a white person to purchase a gun. It's easier for a white American to get a lighter sentence. Yeah, that's true. It's easier for a white American not to be killed while dealing with the cops and can keep going on. I agree. Then what does the racist say? Oh, that's false. Just dismisses the whole thing, doesn't make any arguments, just dismisses the entire point at hand because that's what racist trolls do. They don't engage in good faith, they troll. And like I said, this guy is probably Travis. So let's just skip ahead because it's just this racist trolling with babble. Um, So then Milkshake just accuses Travis's fake account here, saying, "You really had to pull out your burner funny. Probably the same dude running for Congress." Yeah, I suspected the same thing. Then what is the Travis racist say? Immediately after this guy accuses this guy of being a fake account, Travis pops in and says, "I don't use a burner account. I'll glad you call you a dumbass from my official account." This is someone who's running for Congress. So all the Drumpf scumbags are coming out of the closet, and here you have a racist who literally trolls Twitter. Um, this guy needs to be banned off of Twitter. Um, there's other people who are calling out the dumb shit that this Travis racist is saying. This guy's saying the freedom from white cowards who say stupid shit. This guy got so triggered. I agree, I'm white, but far from a coward you. It doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't even make any sense. Far from a coward you? What the hell? Learn how to speak English, you fucking hick. And this guy just says, you said some dumb shit, corny motherfucker. Yeah, I agree. This guy can't even speak English. Far from a coward you, clown face. Holy shit, this is a guy running for Congress? You see why America is so fucked? It's because you have dumb, inbred, racist hicks who have an IQ in the double digits who are able to attain positions of power. This guy is a walking example of white privilege, that you can have someone as stupid as he is who can get elected to power because there's so many other dumb racist hicks like him. Um, so this is just some of the dumb shit that this guy's been saying. So I just wanted to expose this loser so everyone can see, and also because all racists need to be called out. And I gotta start. I gotta start, right? And hopefully others will follow in my example and will make more videos exposing these racists. Okay, because we need to make American society intolerable to these racist scumbags. All right, guys, see you later.